G'day everyone, welcome back to another edition of Guvs Hero Review videos. Today we are going to be continuing with our Hunter series, looking at the 5-star legendary yellow heroine, Jaguar, the Unseen Jungle Prowler. Jaguar, as we saw, is available for summons from the Monster Island portal, which rolls around once every 8 weeks. The portal itself has pretty average odds, coming in at just 1.2% chance for an event hero, and there are no featured heroes, which means that if you are summoning for someone specific, those odds do drop off dramatically. Putting it into perspective, if you were to do 100 summons on this portal, spending 30,000 gold, as I might add, you would have only a 70% probability of getting any of the 8 legendary heroes in this portal, but you would have only a 13.9% probability of getting a specific Monster Island legendary hero, which is not ideal in the scheme of things. Jaguar, she's been around for a little bit now. She was added during the initial appearance of the Monster Island event back in February 2022 with most of the other heroes in this portal. The portal was expanded in March 2023 with a couple of additional heroes, but that's really about all that we've seen on this portal since its initial release to the game. Her artwork itself, so we'll have a look in my roster and we can find a copy of Jaguar when we scroll up to the Assault class heroes. So this is her artwork. So there's sort of some like Black Panther vibes going on there. She does have like the talons and that sort of thing. She's got a giant braid on her back, which I guess could be comparable to a tail, but probably not the most practical thing in a jungle situation. I feel like it'd get snagged and snared on stuff a fair bit. But yeah, that's her artwork, so feel free to pause it if you wanted. Otherwise, let's head back and have a look at her family bonus. So Jaguar, as is the case with all of these guys, she is a member of the Hunter family, which means that she does gain a healing bonus when there's multiple unique hunters in a battle. So specifically, she gains a plus 10, 15, 20, or 25% healing improvement when there are 2, 3, 4, or 5 unique heroes from the Hunter family in battle. 2 things to note with this. Number 1, I generally do not like this family bonus. I find it to be one of the weakest family bonuses available in the game. Not only is it a poor effect, but there is virtually no synergy with the family itself. There are no healers in the Monster Island family. The closest you've got is Barbie, who does healing to allies for damage dealt, which is close, but it ultimately isn't a healer. So not only is it a poor effect, but there is no synergy within the family itself. The other thing to note is that they do have to be unique family members, so you can't bring along 2 copies of Jaguar. It's got to be 2 different heroes, like combining Jaguar with Magma or Jaguar with Torrent as an example. The Monster family also gain a bonus when you use them in the Monster Island event. Specifically, they have a 20% chance whenever they use their special skills to also apply a 1-turn silence and a 1-turn attack delay to hit enemies. There's also an attack and defense bonus for plus 4, 8, 12, 16, or 20% when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 unique monster heroes in the fight. Those effects, though, they are only when you're using them in the Monster Island event. It doesn't apply at any other point in the game, only during the Monster Island event itself. In terms of her personal stats, Jaguar does come in with 784 attack, 655 defense, and 1401 HP. So there is a fairly hefty skewing going from her defense stat towards the attack stat, which is okay because it does enhance her overall damage output from her skill. Her charge speed is set to 61 speed, which is fast and requires 9 tiles to charge or 5 ghosted tiles. The speed break does require plus 4, which you can do using either the 4-star Triss Vector, which gives plus 7, or the 5-star Ragnarok Vantage, which gives plus 6 charge speed. The double break requires plus 11, which you can't do, as there's no speed gun in the game high enough to get you there, even when you factor in the class emblem node. The class emblem node, as a result, is not really relevant. There is like a niche relevancy, is when if for whatever reason you decided you were going to equip the 3-star speed gun to Jaguar, in that situation you need the plus 3 speed gun and the charge speed node on her talent tree. But look, it's not really relevant at all, her charge speed node. On the topic of her class and her emblems, she is a member of the Assault class, which grants her the chance to wound the enemy, applying 60% of normal damage done as a 5-turn bleed, essentially. So the wound damage, it can stack with itself infinitely, so you can have like 6 or 7 instances of wound active at once. It also does count, as I said, as bleed damage, which means it is able to proc the bleed burst on someone like Hatchet or Ikwani, which is kind of interesting. By way of an actual emblem path, I would personally go an attack path to further enhance her damage output. You could make an argument to go for a defense HP route to increase her survival, but I'd just be going for more attack. So what that looks like on a class tree, whoops, we'll get rid of that one. Pretend this isn't Leon, pretend it's Jaguar up there in the top corner, so we'd be going any route that's got attack on it. Any time where we've got to choose between attack routes, in this case, we're going to go for the one which is bigger, but otherwise we'd go for anything with probably defense on it. But we don't have to make that choice, and I would say to stop there at plus 18. Plus 19 and plus 20 aren't overly relevant, so I'd just say to leave it at 18 and call it a day and save your emblems elsewhere. That's a emblem path. So, heading back over to the portal, and we can read through her special skill. So her special skill is titled Steel Claw Scratch, and at level 10 skill and 61 charge speed, it will deal 200% damage to the target and nearby enemies. It will then heal the caster for 40% of the damage dealt, and then it will apply a healing debuff to the hit enemies for minus 50% healing for 3 turns. So breaking that skill apart a little bit, starting with the damage component. So damage, difficult to consistently calculate, easy to do. But what we do instead, which is more consistent, is we just look at a hero's attack power, which is analogous to the hero's damage output eventually. So in the case of Jaguar, her attack power is 784 attack multiplied by the 200% in her skill, and we can see that comes out at 1,568 attack power per enemy. If we further normalize that against her charge speed and divide it by the 9 tiles to charge, we can see that she comes out number 7 of the 10 DOA 3 yellow hitters with an attack power per tile of 174. So not really great. It is quite a substantial step behind the best ones in Spite and Vulpine, but it is also still better than the worst ones in, Min and Kurgan. So, okay damage, not great, nothing that you'd probably write home about, but yeah, it's there, alright, we'll leave it at that. The second part of her skill is that self-heal for damage dealt, where she gains 40% of that damage as personal healing. This is a little bit different from Barbie. It's more consistent with what's in the game, so it is only for herself. Barbie does generate healing for all allies, but yeah, Jaguar is a little bit more selfish than that, and it only is for herself. So as a result, it does remove any wider team implications she might have as sort of like a team healer, but yeah, she is just a self-heal. If we had a look at a battle scenario where Jaguar has, 1,000, call it a final battle attack stat of 1,150, factoring in both emblems and weapons. She then goes and hits a couple enemies with about 1,000 defense stat. What Jaguar is going to be roughly healing herself for out of those 3 attacks is approximately 370 HP, is what she'll heal herself for, which is a little bit over 25% of her base HP stat. So not too bad an amount of healing, but again, it is only for herself, so just something to keep in mind. The final part of her skill is the healing debuff to the target and nearby enemies. If you've been watching these reviews for a little bit now, you'd probably know I'm not a big fan of this effect generally. At 50%, it is at least a consequential amount of healing debuff, but my biggest issue is that it's only affecting one of the 3 healing mechanisms in the game. So you've got the 3 healing mechanisms, which is direct heal, armor, and minions. All right. Of those 3, this is only blocking the healing. So an easy way to get around it is just to bring an armor generator or a minion maker against Jaguar, and her effect is completely nullified. It doesn't do anything. There is admittedly more usefulness in attack situations when it's in the hands of a player, because there is a bit more intelligence there. In an attacking situation, you can use it to reduce the impact of enemy healings, or even the heal war effect, where it heals you every couple turns in the war effect there. An interesting combination actually with Jaguar is with Fiends, in that the healing debuff kicks in before the Fiend absorbs the healing, so it effectively is doubling the healing needed to dislodge the Fiend from existence. A little bit niche, but kind of interesting. So maybe you could use Jaguar in combination with a Fiend generator. Maybe. Like, a little bit of a stretch. So overall, Jaguar is a hero that could have been really great, but ultimately just falls a little bit flat. Her attack stat is really great, and it should lend her to being an incredible damage dealer, but unfortunately her skill damage at only 200% is just too small. It is in fact the worst of the yellow DOA 3 options, and is amongst the worst of the DOA 3 hitters in the entire game in terms of that percentage in her special skill, that 200%. The other parts of her skill, they're neither here nor there. They work, but mostly in attacking situations. I think a really cool way that SGG could have made Jaguar unique and also potentially quite interesting and useful would have been to make her a Fiend blocker. So give her some kind of buff which prevents Fiends from being applied to all allies or even just nearby allies for 3 turns. That, and also, give her more damage. But yeah, unfortunately, Jaguar isn't like that, so we do have to grade her on what we have. So by way of her grading, I'm going to give Jaguar a C+ for war and raid attacks. She's got decent damage, but not huge amounts going for her. In War Machines, I'm going to give her a C-, not really a War Machine hero. Eventing, I'm going to give her a C+, decent DOA 3 damage, but not anything fantastic for that situations. For War and Raid defenses, I'm going to give her a D+. Wing or flank, either, but she's really only going to be contributing damage into the equation, so not a good defending hero at all. In the 3 tournament settings, so first up we've got Bloody Battle. In Bloody Battle, there is no healing, so she loses both the self-heal and also the healing debuff, so I'm going to give her a C- for attack and a D grade for defense. On buff boosters, again, no buffs, she's not really contributing much, so I'm going to give her a C+ for attack and a D+ for defense. And finally, for charged attack, she does gain a little bit of benefit, so I'm going to give her a B- for attack and a C- for her charged attack defense grade. And overall, that comes in as being a C+ for her overall attack grade and a D+ for her overall defense grade. And that pretty well concludes the content that I have for this review of Jaguar. As always, these are just my personal opinions on these heroes. I do love hearing your thoughts and feedback on them, so please do jump down to the comment section of the video. I do love reading your stuff, and I will always try to respond as much as I can. If you did enjoy the video and found it to be useful, feel free to like the video, subscribe to my channel and all of that, but most importantly, share the video around, because if this sort of thing is useful for yourself, it's also likely to be useful to the people you play with as well. Thank you once again for tuning in and joining me for this review video. I do hope that I will see you again soon, but until then, good luck, stay safe, and happy gaming. Cheers, bye!